Hello and welcome to another gauge demo from flipgauges.com. Today we're taking a look at my second digital clock. This one has an outside ambient temperature display and a volts display as well. So it's modeled on the Cessna style digital clock. As I said, it's got the additional outside temperature and volts as well on this. So I'm going to cover the buttons first. So the S1 button will toggle between timer and clock functions. So at the moment we are on the clock function. CL is underlined, and if we press S1 we're now in the timer function, and the timer is currently running and it's at 5 minutes at the moment. Now let's switch back to clock. Now the S2 will change to sim time, which is on at the moment, and the S3 will change to PC time. So I press S3, it's now showing the local time for my PC, and if I hit S2 it's now showing the local time from my simulator. Okay, so S4 will switch between GMT, and S5 will switch to local, and you can see you've got the local time and the universal time there as well. So when it's on GMT, universal time, S5 is local time. Okay, so the S6 button has a dual function depending on whether you're in the clock or in the timer modes. So when you're in the clock, the S6 is your backlight color. So there are 5 different backlight colors to choose from. I like the orange because it's similar to the Cessna one anyway. And now if we toggle over to the timer, the S6 button is now the reset for the timer, so that'll put it back to 0. So hit S6 and the timer goes back to 0. Okay, so I'm going to cover the dials next. Now, while in timer mode, the left dial operates the timer, so you can fast forward the timer and bring the timer back. So if you took off 20 minutes ago and you forgot to set the timer, you can set the timer using the left dial. If you're an hour into flight, you can just fast forward out an hour and then leave it like that. As I said, the S6 button will then reset the timer. The timer is always running. You can't stop it, you can't pause it, it's always running. Now when we switch back to the clock, the left dial toggles between the outside ambient temperature and volts display. So at the moment OAT is underlined and that's what's being displayed. We're at 14.2 degrees and that's in centigrade. Now the left dial will operate the red button which switches the OAT and volts. So if we just press this, spin the dial, and now we're on volts, and flick it again and we're now back to OAT. Now what we do is we'll use the right dial to go into the mini menu, and the first option in the mini menu is version and info, and we'll change that by clicking on the left, and that will bring up the information page about the gauge and the version number. The next option in the menu is side buttons, and these side buttons can be turned on or off as you please. There is a separate tutorial for labeling the side buttons, and obviously once you've labeled them and reprogrammed the buttons, then the functions for those buttons won't work, but I have programmed those functions into the mini menu. So we'll turn the side buttons off for now. So the next option is your time sources. So here you can toggle between the simulator and the PC time without using the buttons. You can do it through the menu, so you can free those buttons up. The next option is time zone, and you can toggle the left dial between GMT and local times. And the next option is the clock and timer, so you can switch modes between clock and timer. The next option is the backlight, so once again you can change the backlight colors through the menu, so you don't have to use S6. The next option will switch the OAT from degrees and Fahrenheit, and we'll just toggle between the two. That's Fahrenheit, and there's your centigrade. Glass reflection, there is an optional glass reflections which you can turn on and off. If you turn them on or off in this gauge, it turns them on and off in my other gauges as well. And the last option is the background color. So there's 4 different variants. You've got the light grey dial, you've got the black dial, you've got the black dial with the dark grey background, and then you've got the full black gauge as well. Okay, so we use the right dial to turn the menu off. Okay, and that is it. It's very similar to the other clock, but as I say, I've just got the OAT and the volts that have been added to it, and you can toggle that with the left dial when you're in clock mode. Let's put it back to clock, and there you go, you just toggle the top function on and off. Okay, I hope you found that useful. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and don't forget to come back out and check out some of our other gauges. Thanks. Bye for now.